Sources reiterate that earning interest is forbidden. This 30% rule measures the extent to which the company's assets and investments are tied up in interest-bearing, non-compliant forms. It quantifies the exposure on the asset side of the balance sheet.
Okay. What examples do the sources give for prohibited deposits or investments under this rule?
They list things like deposits or accounts in conventional banks that are earning interest, investments or assets specifically earmarked for prohibited activities, holding conventional financial instruments like treasury bills or bonds if they earn interest. Also, investments in funds that themselves hold non-compliant company shares. And there it is again, those financial dealings between a holding company and subsidiary exceeding the ownership percentage, if interest is involved.
That holding company point keeps cropping up. Seems important in the standard.
It does appear significant, yes. Mentioned for both borrowing and deposits if interest is part of the deal.
And the market value calculation, same approach as with borrowing, using an average.
Yes, the sources indicate it's the same method. Based on the total market value of shares, often using that average over a period, typically the last 12 months, to manage volatility.
Right, so activity, borrowing, deposits, checked. What's next? We must be getting to the actual income soon.
We are. Rule number 4 is prohibited revenue compliance. That's shansutanyu suryu.
Prohibited revenue. Okay, this sounds like it's about the money coming in.
Exactly. This rule sets a limit on the amount of revenue the company generates from sources considered non-compliant. The threshold here is much lower. It must not exceed 5% of the company's total revenue.
5%, okay. And that applies if the revenue comes from a forbidden activity or just from owning something forbidden.
That's right. The sources say it covers both scenarios, revenue from doing something prohibited or from, say, owning an asset that generates prohibited income, like renting a property for a forbidden purpose.
What if a company's accounts aren't super clear? Some income streams can be murky.
The sources acknowledge that. They mention that if some revenues aren't clearly disclosed, an effort should be made to identify them. And if there's still uncertainty, a precautionary approach should be taken when assessing compliance. The goal is to limit that non-compliant portion of the income.
Makes sense. Can you give us the examples from the sources of what counts as total prohibited revenue? Sounds like it could be a varied list.